This is the intersection of Pine Tree Way and Burlington Drive in Coquitlam, British Columbia. Back in 2018, this intersection had two key problems. One, people were driving too fast through it, and two, people tended to die when cars sped into them. The local police needed to fix this, ideally without doing any work whatsoever. And so, a perfect solution was born. Constable Scarecrow, a metal cutout of a police officer in a bright green jacket pointing a radar gun at drivers. Constable Scarecrow was placed at the Pine Tree and Burlington intersection, and then at a bunch of other intersections, and after 2 months, this piece of judgmental-looking sheet metal had cut the number of speeders in patrolled school zones in half. So why does stationing a cardboard cop at a traffic stop work, even after it becomes clear that the man standing perfectly still on the edge of an intersection for months at a time was not actually a real police officer with the power to commit police brutality? Turns out, seeing an authority figure watching you is so powerful that you'll change your behavior even if you know it's fake. A study from Simon Fraser University found that cardboard cops were effective in immediately reducing speeds on highways and busy streets, which correlates with the instinctual change in behavior people display when they know they're being watched, which is a legit psychological phenomenon. In a study from UCLA, people who played an online game with a pair of cartoon eyes in the corner of their screen were more generous with their virtual currency, even though they knew those eyes were fake. Cardboard cops in Boston even reduced bike theft by 67% in 1 year by being stationed behind chain link gates at transit stops frequented by bike thieves. And their low cost certainly didn't hurt either, since they cost almost nothing and free up cops to do more important work like committing domestic abuse at alarmingly high rates according to multiple peer-reviewed academic studies. So why do cardboard cops trigger this response in would-be speeders and thieves? Much like opposable thumbs or male nipples, this has to do with evolution. With thousands of years of communal living and tribal dependence ingrained in our DNA, it turns out humans are wired for connection, which means guilt and shame become powerful forces for social cohesion. Or that getting caught doing something bad could result in exclusion from the only social group you've ever known, forcing you to search for social connection by making YouTube videos about weird little facts. But why do these fear-based feelings cause such drastic change in our behavior? To answer that, we'll have to go even deeper by traveling to the brain's temporal lobe, but only in this animation because if you do that in real life, you'll kill someone. This is the part of the brain where an almond-like structure known as the amygdala resides. It's the brain's relevance detector, which means it processes any emotion-charged stimuli. For example, the amygdala activates whenever it sees a human face, but it doesn't respond if that human has a positive expression. In fact, the amygdala only acts when there's a negative external stimulus, which releases a fear response to the prefrontal cortex's hippocampus that determines whether a situation is actually threatening. So the amygdala is the brain's investigative reporter, and the hippocampus is the editor keeping them in check. The brain's fear response can be mild or severe depending on how the hippocampus filters the stimulus's actual threat. Remembering you have to interview James Corden, for example, might trigger the release of additional stress hormones, which would then cause you to feel more anxiety and would get you to start writing the questions. But being chased through the woods by James Corden would cause the brain to release as many stress hormones as it estimates you need to survive that encounter, which obviously would be way more intense. Your sympathetic nervous system, which puts your body on alert, would activate, leading to hyperventilating, heightened awareness, increased blood flow. Even your digestive system would slow down to put more energy into keeping you from being butchered by TV's James Corden. All this is to say, when people pass by a cardboard cop, their fight or flight amygdala activates and confuses your hippocampus into approving the release of stress hormones somewhere between an interview and a rabid Englishman quickly gaining on you because you see a threatening authority figure that could give you a speeding ticket. But as people pass the same cop cutout every day, they're more likely to ignore their amygdala and hippocampus's initial responses, which means they might feel an initial peak of anxiety but won't feel the same level of heart-pounding fear they initially did. That being said, other speeding strategies, like these speed-sensing signs that show smiley or sad emojis to drivers based on their speeds, don't inspire the same fear of God. One study from England found that these signs only had a, quote, novelty impact of slowing drivers down for a week. So having a socially shameful sign isn't enough to prevent speeding. An effective strategy has to trigger the brain's fear response through threatening a negative consequence, in this case, a speeding ticket. And if you're ready to stop stressing about whether that cop you passed was real or not and want to give back to society, since you were speeding but didn't get pulled over, you might be wondering how to maximize your charitable donations. How do I know my contributions are really helping people? How are my donations being used? Are my donations actually going to a cardboard cop company instead of people in need? The good news is, with our sponsor GiveWell, you can find all the answers to these questions and more. GiveWell gives you free research and recommendations about a broad range of charities that impact lives the most per dollar, so you can be assured that any of your holiday season donations will go towards helping as many people as possible. They spend over 40,000 hours per year researching charities and have directed over $1 billion towards improving the lives of millions. The best part is, after you find a charity you'd like to donate to, GiveWell will allocate your donation without taking a cut because they're all about helping donors make informed decisions about donating to charity. Personally, I'd give to the Helen Keller Foundation, which I found through GiveWell because they help save thousands of lives through distributing vitamin A supplements to children. Vitamin A supplements can help save the lives of children suffering from vitamin A deficiencies, and it only costs $1 to deliver a supplement and save a child, so my donation will go directly towards saving as many kids' lives as possible. The best part is, if you've never donated to GiveWell's recommended charities before, you can get your donation matched up to $100 before the end of the year as long as matching funds last. Just go to givewell.org and pick YouTube and enter HI at checkout to make sure they know you heard about GiveWell from Half as Interesting and to get your donation matched.